So, happy Tuesday from God's Little Acre. I was outside and I was actually sending Horatio some video of the bees and the pigs and whatnot, and I thought, you know what? Sorry, it's really sunny out here. Why not just go live with you guys and give you the same treatment and the same tour? So, first thing I want to show you guys is our bees right here. And I'm going to turn the camera around so that you guys can see it. But first and foremost, what I want you to note is my mess. These are my bees and this is my mess. You'll see insulation strewn around, and these are bags of leaves that we pick up around the neighborhood. The reason that they're all strewn everywhere is because we're having a little mini heat wave right now. And that insulation was to keep the cold from getting in, obviously, so they can keep their warmth in. So anyway, I just kind of ripped it all and threw it all around so that they could not be totally overwhelmed. So I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks to be able to just get rid of all those bags, pull all my insulation. I save it out in the big shed, not the bags, obviously, they're just leaves. Those go to the pigs kind of for snacks. But the insulation I will save, and I wrap the hives. You can see that one still has the insulation on top of the lid. But I want to show you guys something. Here, let me switch the camera around. If I can. I know I can. Alright, so let's see if I can use this selfie stick and get in a little bit closer than I otherwise would be getting. So what you're seeing in the front there is what is called a mouse guard or an entrance reducer. And you don't want mice getting into your hives in the winter. They will go in there and they'll build nests. So you have to have the entrance reduced so that only a few bees can get in and out. So I had to pull that on both of these colonies so that they could get in and out, because today it's literally 72 degrees Fahrenheit here today. And the bees, literally when I came out earlier, there were probably at least 10 to 20,000, now probably about 10,000 bees flying outside the hive. Because what you're looking at right now, the action that you are seeing here is they're out there and they're going and hunting and scavenging for food, right? But what I got a video of a little while ago was their afternoon test flights. So with bees, one thing that you need to know is that they take turns. Like, there is a cycle of life with bees. As soon as bees are born, or, you know, they come out of the, I want to turn this around so you can see what I'm saying here. As soon as the bees are born and they come out of their little piece of comb, they become nurse bees. So they will help take care of the larvae and the eggs, and feed them and so forth, and clean up the hive and stuff like that. And then as they get older, their jobs, no, the sun's still shining, their jobs start to change. The very last job that a bee gets is flying for food, flying for honey, flying for, not honey, excuse me, flying for pollen and nectar and propolis from trees and stuff like that. So that'll be the very last part of their life, and it puts a lot of miles literally on their life, and that's what kills them, to be honest. A bee can live in the colony through winter for several months, for a few months, but once they start flying, if they, you know, during summer and spring and fall, that amount of I don't know, they're like a battery. They only have so much juice in them. So the flying takes a lot of juice out of them. They live like 6 weeks. So that is the bee update, which I just thought was really, really fun. So I wanted to bring you guys out here for that. Later tonight, I will come back out and I will put the mouse guard back on there, just because at nighttime you still don't want the mice, and I don't know what the weather's going to be like over the next few days. So also briefly, while I'm standing here, this is, let me get like one of these buds here. All right, so this is our pear tree. It's doing really well. I'm not worried about it with the frost because it hasn't, let's see if I can get some of these. It hasn't actually like flowered yet. So, which the bees are probably looking for. And another really cool thing is, let me turn this camera around again. This is a, kind of like a Bing cherry tree. And usually the cherries are the ones that get zapped by the frost first. And this one has not. Like you can see that it's got buds on it, but they didn't blossom yet. So that's really awesome. And I'm hoping that we don't get another bad frost, because you'll see, let me take you around here. Okay, hang on. First of all, you need to see this. These are the two dogs that we're watching. Yeah, they're gonna need a bath before we go inside. Yeah, but they are having the time of their lives. I had the time of my life, and I owe it all to the torrential rain. Yeah, it rained all night last night, like thunder and lightning. And okay, so this right here, and I don't know why that chat's not, I can't see the chat. Like I can see it, but it goes away so fast. Hang on a second. Show live chat, please. Thank you. All right, so this is one of our, I think it's a nectarine tree. But anyway, because we had this really bad frost and heavy snow, my mom and I came out here and we covered it, and it seems to be doing okay. So you can see that the blossoms in there are still happy and healthy, and the bees are flying around and getting all of that. So the next thing that I want to show you are the pigs. So here's the deal about the pigs. We have 4 moms that are pregnant. Now, apparently we're not really that good at telling when they're gonna go. Let me turn this around. And into labor and stuff, because we have been waiting for days. We kept thinking these girls are getting ready to pop. Now today is the first day that these two, I've come out and they're just laying down. They should be building a nest, but what I think is happening, this is my guess, this is my pig farmer experience guess here, that this heat, and it is 72 degrees out, will induce labor in some of these girls. So this is Blondie right here. This will be her, I think, 4th litter. Gracie behind her is her daughter, and it will be her 1st litter. Look at you grunting. Hi, Blondie. And then Susie over here, it's going to be her 2nd litter. Susie, I think, is also Blondie's offspring. Look at that cute face. So then, and they're going to get up and follow me as soon as I come in here. We have little Susie Cutie. Now, with the names, I know it's redundant. We have Susie with a Z, and then Susie, S-U-S-I-E, Cutie, right here. This is going to be her 2nd litter. They're sisters. I don't know how they ended up getting the same name, but they did. So we go with it. Then we have little Harold over there. One day he'll be a pork chop. We have little Buddy there. One day he will be a pork chop. And we have Malachi, obviously, the king of the hill here, who's just chilling. Thinking about getting up, and then nope, I'm just gonna lay down. It's actually really warm in here. So we have all of this plastic that you see up. It really, really helps to insulate in the winter. But on we have this weird transition phase in between spring and winter where it just starts to get hot in here. So you can feel it. But here's the deal, guys. I mean, they're so hilarious. They want to be in here, and I don't know why I'm not seeing that chat. They want to be in here when they have. There's Benny Pig. Hang on, let me show you Benny. He's so cute. What's up, Benny? Looks just like his dad, doesn't he? So they have all of that, and then it goes up and around to another pen. Yeah. So this, look, now they're all here. Hang on, wait a minute. You want to be on camera? Here, let me turn around. I actually just gave them a snack. They're acting like they want a snack, but that's because they just always want a snack. So we come out here every single day, twice a day, and we scoop. And I'm just going to kind of give like an overview because there are some of you that maybe haven't done the farm tour with us. Getting out of the sun there. So what we do is we come out and we scoop their manure every day, and it goes into that pile right there behind me. And then it goes into the chicken yard where the chickens start to scratch it up, and we have 3 different piles, which because we're kind of coming on the end of winter, the piles are kind of even and flat, but usually you can see 3 distinct piles because they'll get rotated one to the next to the next. And Chris Holman had been asking me about that for compost. So once it goes over there, we add horse manure and we add leaves and pretty much anything with carbon in it. Look at this is Grumpy Pants. You know what I'm gonna do, because it's special and you're on TV, is I'm gonna go get you another snack. Hang on. We're gonna, just because it's just one of those days where you get special treatment because Michelle's outside. Okay, so also this is our feed. This is just 1 barrel of feed. I just kind of keep it nearby. But I say I take the lid off because look right there is one of our honeybees, and there's soy in there, and soy is a protein source, and the bees like to eat or often will consume protein. And so right now there's not a whole lot out there for them to get just yet when they go out looking for food. So hang on, I open the lid on the feed and they go and they take it back. It's like pollen. So, all right. So I just flung that. So what I do there with the flinging is we keep good hay in here. We buy good hay from one of our local farmers. And so we throw the feed onto the hay, and that encourages them also to eat the hay, which is really good for them. They really love grass, but they like fresh grass. So Kansas mows our yard and our next door neighbor's yard and has a catcher for the grass, and then gives it to these guys. It's their like favorite time of year. So these are grass-fed style heritage hogs. They're 3/4 Kune and 1/4 American Guinea hog. Because Malachi there in the center is 1/2 American Guinea hog and 1/2 Kune, and then the original moms that we had, which we have since butchered 2 of, were 100% Kune. So that's how you get the math of okay, little Susie Cutie. See her all the way out there. She's kind of a loner, and they all kind of pick on her, so she didn't get any food. So you know what I'm gonna do? We're gonna take some in special just for her. You don't want your moms to get too fat before they give birth, because it increases the risk of them rolling on their piglets. Well, okay, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. I dumped that and then they all went for it. I know what I need to do. Stop it. Stop fighting. See, they literally just picked on her. I'm going to have to take some around to the bottom and hope they don't notice. Anyway, you don't want them to get too heavy because it increases the chance of them rolling on their piglets and killing them. Usually, a good mom tiptoes around her babies. But sometimes you get a bad mom and she will not know her own weight. So, hang on a second here. There's Jasper. This is hard to do with only one hand. Now, where did she go? Let's see. She might have gone out because they pick on her. Hang on, let's see if she went away. Here. There we go. No. Gracie, no. I'm stronger than you. Dude, I'm actually not stronger than you, but I'm smarter. Stop. Okay. All right. So, I'm getting so muddy here. I'm glad you're all here. So now what I want to do is, this is what it's like. Just be thankful that you don't operate under a hierarchy for food, because that could get messy amongst humans, you know? Definitely could. Here she is. I don't know. Here, shh, don't tell anybody that you have that. Nope, see, here comes the other one. You can't feed one without 800 more coming. All right, so I don't know if you guys heard about the saga. We posted it on Facebook, but I don't know how many of you guys follow us on Facebook, but it's a pretty big deal. We have a cow, not a real cow, because we can't have a cow here. I mean, technically we could, but it wouldn't be, I would not do that to a cow. Cows should be on grass, and we don't have the grass to give it. Knowing how much we want a cow, a friend of ours bought us a ceramic cow, which we have had out where I'm going to take you on the corner for a couple of years now. Make sure this is locked. All right. Let me turn this around so you guys can see this garden here that we have on the side yard. Come on. All right. So there's the cow. You can see it. You can see the cow right there. That's not where she's supposed to live. Here we just have, this is just flowers, daffodils, and whatnot. We've got this greenhouse that Kansas and Justin built out of old recycled windows and pallet wood. Right here, I'm going to get to the cow story in a minute, but I figured while I was down here I would show you what we have going. Right here we have our grape arbor. Now, this is not just a grape arbor. If you guys have seen the Back to Eden documentary, fantastic. If you haven't, it is on your to-do list. This is what's called, I don't know, I call it wood chip gardening. I guess there's probably a better name for it. But the idea being, you put wood chips down and the earth is actually never exposed, and it builds up good micronutrients in the soil. Now, you don't turn it in because, as most of you know, many of you know, that as these kinds of things, as carbon breaks down in the soil, it zaps nitrogen from the soil. And you really need that nitrogen to get your plants to grow. So what this does is it allows the breakdown to happen on top of the soil, and then so you're keeping moisture in, and you're building up nutrients in the soil. You'll notice that in nature because things are always falling from the trees, without man's interference, it's natural for things to always be mulched. So we get free wood chips from our local tree guys whenever we can. We use it in our pig pens, and we use it here. So we have grapes that are actually starting to bud. I saw a couple of buds the other day. No, maybe that was on the blackberries. The grapes haven't started budding yet. But we keep them pruned, so one stalk, and then it goes up to either side. But down at the base, all in here, this will all be garden, because the grapes, their roots go down, right? And then you can see what green you're seeing here is either garlic or onions from last year. Probably more than likely garlic. I know Leah actually planted some garlic already this spring. So, yeah, it's actually the blackberries, the thornless blackberries that are starting to bud already. So yeah, this is how windy it's been. My mom had this little cherry bush completely covered. That's the new flower bed that Kansas built that I told you about the other night when it was dark. But okay, so this is the greenhouse. We haven't put anything in it yet because it's still a little bit cold for that, but we will. It's really, really nice inside. Today it would probably be perfect, but then it'll get cold again. So we'll show you guys that as we put stuff out there and stuff. But this is really just a flower bed that has been here for a long time, and it fell apart, so Kansas literally rebuilt it from scratch and leveled it. And then we also use for our landscaping, anytime we can get wood, we try to use like stuff that we can't put in the fire in the house, like pine. You don't really want to burn that in a wood burning stove, but we'll just use like logs, and then as they break down, we'll remove them and do it again. And we use the free wood chips also to mulch, so that way we don't have to actually spend money for mulch. We actually used to. We would buy yards and yards and yards and yards of mulch. But that's just silly. Why would you do that if you can get it for free? There was one time I actually paid because we couldn't get anybody to drop it off. I paid to have some wood chips delivered, which it would cost me $50, which was way cheaper than getting wood chips or getting mulch. You know what I mean? All right, so hang on. Let's go talk about this cow here. The case of the cow. So this spot right here, this is where the cow was at. My Uncle Jack and I were driving home the other day, and the cow was gone. Literally just gone. Somebody stole the cow. The cow had, it's a planter. The cow had soil in it, okay? Because we we usually put flowers in the cow. You will notice the injuries to the cow being right here on the cow's face, right there on the knee, on the hoof. I mean, this cow has been through the ringer. We actually put out an APB on Facebook. We did. It's just serious business. Stealing somebody's cow. I mean, you don't go messing with somebody's cow. You ought not do that. So we put an APB out. Our local postman, Jeff, actually told all of the carriers to keep an eye out for the cow. He said after he explained what a Holstein was. And last night, I was going to bed, and I looked out my window. Let me show you. That's my window at the top there. I looked out my window, and I saw the cow. And she was literally right here where she is right now. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning or something ridiculous. And I had no shoes on, and I ran downstairs, and I had this big smile on my face, and I was like, the cow's back, the cow's back. I don't know who returned it. I was going to put a sign out that said, like, hashtag return the cow. conscience decided that they could not live as long as they had that cow. There's Uncle Jack. I wonder what he's up to for today. Let me, hang on. We got the cow. Somebody returned it. What? I know. Somebody felt bad. Say hi to my YouTube people. So I'm gonna put the cow back. I wonder if I can do this one-handed. Hang on though, wait a minute. What Leah didn't tell me is she's missing out the, hang on. Can't really show you that. Wait a minute, let me switch the thing here. She's missing the bottom. Like, seriously. There was a bottom on the bottom of the cow. Alright, so I think I saw a chat here. I can't believe I'm doing this one-handed. She's kind of heavy. We're putting her back. She's going back. Alright, Miss Cow. You are going back. Now you gotta see, this is how she's supposed to sit. This is where she sits, man. I had friends like, how am I gonna know where to turn? Yeah, so somebody asked, how many acres do we have? We have an acre and a tenth. And we jam-pack as much as we can. All of this area that you're looking at here and there. This will all be garden. As you can see, we've had a massive amount of rain here. This will, and we'll do tours throughout to show you guys how this develops, because this is a lilac bush. These are daylilies. I mean, this whole area just pops with color. It really starts to look really good. But you can tell by the amount of cars that are driving by that we live in suburbia. So what we're doing with our little farm on 1 acre in suburbia is rather rare and unheard of, but I would like to see everybody in America doing the maximum that they can with the acreage that they have. Whether it's 1/8 of an acre, 1/4 of an acre, 100 acres, I don't care. I want to see you guys doing what you can with the acreage that you have. So what we have here is our house, and I don't know if you can tell this, but our house sits in a valley. Okay, and so everybody's water comes to our house. It goes through this culvert and then goes underneath the street behind me. And so all of this water is coming just literally from all the way up the street, like a mile up the street. Now let me see if I can go and see some of these chat. The chat is going so fast. Where I live, if you don't have 2 acres, you can't have any animals. And I hear that a lot from people, and I will tell you something. That where we live, unless you have 5 acres or more, you can't have any animals either. This is just another flower bed here. So let me talk to you guys about something here. Where we live, you have to have 5 acres to be able to farm and homestead. I think this is wrong. We have an exemption. We live in a township in Ohio. What is really fantastic about living in a township in Ohio is there's this Don't Zone Me Out law that was put into action, I don't even remember when. I want to say like the 80s or the 70s. So that if you lived in a township and you had, I think it's an acre or more, maybe it's not, maybe there isn't even a limit, but it's called 51921. And you can do anything that you want agriculturally as long as you, hang on, look who it is. Wait a minute. Who's that? That's Leah. She's coming home from a pet visit. She'll probably come out here in a second. So you can do anything you want agriculturally. If you want to do animals, if you want to do a vineyard, if you want, whatever you want to do, you can do it. You can build outbuildings, you can have sheds, all because of this 51921, which I think is fantastic. Something that's really cool and interesting and worth noting is that Ohio is trying to expand that law so that it's not just townships that applies to, which I'm very, very excited about. I hope that passes, because I would love it for everybody to be able to do what we are doing. We had some issues with some of our neighbors, about what we're doing. Most of our neighbors love it and think it's fantastic. But we go above and beyond, because I understand that most people just don't like it aesthetically, because a rooster's crow is a lower decibel than a dog's bark, believe it or not. So we do what we can to keep everything looking nice. Understand we have the outbuildings and stuff. We stay totally on top of manure and things like that, keeping it clean so there's no smell. And we do everything that we can. For us, the issue with our neighbors was they just didn't like the fact that we were doing it. But everything seems to be mostly calm right now. We built a fence, a privacy fence, which I can go and show you back here to help with that. We have a couple more flower beds back here. These wagon wheels actually came from the ranch that Kansas grew up on. He dug them out of the ground, and that was one of the things that he brought with him here to Ohio. We keep these privets. We planted 200 of them all around our property. Look who it is. There's a little dog there. And they're starting to bud and to bloom. So we put in, I want to say, I can't even remember how many of these panels, but Kansas and I built them from scratch. We used the sawmill to mill them. And then back here, I don't even know if I can get in because this door might be completely locked. Oh no, I can get in. I can fit. I'm squishy. Let me shut this again. All right, so back here, this is where we always run our meat birds. We use the sections. We use this fencing here, which is kind of falling down, and we'll run them in like 14-foot sections, so that they're on grass and stuff. So these are the privets that we planted, and this is the fence that we built. It's at least 200. I think it's 250 feet of these panels there. So Kansas and I used the sawmill. Somebody had given us a bunch of 2 by 6 by 3 foot long boards. Yeah, I know this is kind of a mess, but we're in the process of cleaning it. But that's the sawmill there. And so anyway, we built that for our neighbors so that they would not have to deal with. She's over here, Leah, with all of that. So Leah's telling me we have to go. I'm going to go do some pet visits with her, and we've got to clean up these dogs because they are a muddy mess. But I wanted to give you guys a little tour around God's Little Acre. There's lots more to show. We didn't even do the chickens or anything like that, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm going to have to watch the live chat back later because for some reason my phone wouldn't let me see it. So, all right, I love you guys. God bless.